Midwesterners. My name is Ron Harris, and I am honored to be your chairman of the Midwestern Caucus. I want to be brief, and I'll be real honest with you that our party, in many ways, is on the right track, and we're also doing the hard work of figuring ourselves out. We're still in recovery mode, and after the last few years, after some losses, after some wins, a lot of divisions and reckonings, we're still deciding who we are, and we are still figuring out how we're going to move forward. And at the same time, the public also feels that. We know that people don't vote solely on policy, but they vote for the people that they feel that they trust. And that's after we've seen after the last election, we lost a little bit of trust. And a lot of people don't trust us quite yet. They're still asking big questions like, are you really fighting for me? Or are you all just fighting for yourselves? And that's exactly why the work that we are doing today and moving forward really matters. So I want to remind you that yes, this is a family meeting. Caucus elections can get competitive, and that's just part of the process. But I just don't want you all to forget that our broader fight is not with each other. Our broader fight is actually with the current occupant in the White House and his administration that is actively trying to roll this country backwards. As you all know, the stakes are already too high for us to get lost in small battles. We've got to make, I think, pretty important decisions today that are going to help us win back trust, win back power, and certainly win back the future for the people that we all represent and the people that are all counting on us. So at the end of the day, our job is simple, but it's not easy. We've got to rebuild the kind of party that people believe in again. We've got to build a party that actually makes life better for working people. We've got to build a party that clears the path so that people can lead themselves, to shape their own stories, and to build something bigger than what we've inherited. So as we conduct ourselves today, let's make sure we do so with a level of integrity and a level of humility and with the urgency that this moment demands. I'm excited to pick a bunch of leaders today that are ready to do the work. And I'm really proud of everybody that has stepped up to run for this. Every single person that has been nominated and have been calling and campaigning is more than qualified to take on some of the responsibilities. And I know that each and every one of you all are ready to get to work. So with that, I will dive into our agenda and let you know sort of how this process is going to work. So again, thank you all for joining us today at our next DNC meeting in August, which is in Minneapolis, my hometown. We will vote to elect 75 at-large DNC members and ratify Chairman Martin's appointments to the standing committees. Today's elections will help us finalize that full proposed slate for that meeting. So here's how the process is going to work, or here's how the process has worked. In May, Chairman Martin released a partial slate of 60 at-large DNC member nominees and his initial appointments to the standing committees. To fill out the remainder of the slates, the regional caucuses, of which the Midwest is one, will each elect 2 at-large DNC members along with 2 individuals to serve on the Credentials Committee, Resolutions Committee, and the Rules and Bylaws Committee. The AAPI, Black, Disability, Hispanic, LGBTQ, and Native American caucuses and the Youth Council will each elect 1 at-large DNC member. The constituency caucuses and Youth Council will also elect 1 individual to each of the 3 standing committees. So the candidates that you will select today will be added to Chair Martin's slate for consideration and ratification by the full DNC in August. Again, this process is historic. This is actually the first time that members of the DNC are playing a direct and significant role in shaping these slates. And like I've been sharing with a lot of people, I'm operating in this process with a level of grace as well, because this is the first time. Normally, the chairperson will select 75 folks, and he has decided to open this up and allow all of us to help shape these important positions. So actions like these are one step towards democratizing the DNC, and together we have the opportunity to ensure that all voices are being heard in our party. Democracy is never simple, and it certainly cannot be accomplished on our own. I want to thank you all again for your time and your participation today. So before we start, we're going to establish a quorum, and quorum for us is 40% of the membership, either in person on this call or by proxy. Then we will determine the quorum by voting with Election Buddy, which is the same software that you all used for the vice chair vote in June, and it's going to be the technology that we will use for voting today. So staff, would love to have you all give us an overview of the voting system.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you to members for having us today and for your participation in this process. We couldn't do it without you, obviously. So a lot of folks should be familiar with this process. We had a really successful vote in June, and I'm seeing a lot of our quorum ballots come in already, so thank you for that. If you haven't voted yet, you have an email in your inbox that looks something like this. You also can access the link that's been sent in the chat. So to begin voting, you click the voting link either in the email or in the chat. And you'll need to plug in your access key and your password, which is again included in your email. If you're having any trouble at all, please message us in the Zoom chat or in the hotline, which is also sent in the chat. If we go to the next page, the great thing about using Election Buddy in a meeting setting and live in a virtual or in-person meeting is that the voting link takes you to the ballot page of Election Buddy, and all ballots for the whole meeting will appear on this page throughout the meeting. So the link remains the same. Once votes are active, they'll appear on this page. You don't have to go in and out. You can just keep it open on your browser. If you go to the next slide here. So during an active vote, the ballot page will have a button that asks you to click to enter into the ballot that's live in that moment. So you can see on this page that the test quorum vote is active, and in your case, the quorum vote is active. So if you go ahead and click onto that first button, that's when it asks you to sign in. And as I mentioned, this only happens the first time that you sign in. So the first time you cast your vote, the system will ask you to log in with your email and your 4-digit PIN. And like I said, if you keep the voting page open, you do not have to re-enter these credentials every time. I will say if you close your voting page, don't worry. If you get logged out, you can always log back in. So go to the next slide here. This is what your ballot looks like when you enter the balloting page. You'll see that there's the question below and then your options. When you make your selection, that little circle on the right-hand side will turn blue. You'll see that green bar at the bottom, and then you go ahead and click continue. So clicking continue does not submit your ballot. This is because Election Buddy has a review setting built into the system. So you can go ahead, take a second here, make sure your choices are exactly as you want them, finalize your choices. If they're incorrect, you can click edit. Otherwise, you go ahead and you click submit. And then that's it. You'll get a confirmation code that pops up on the screen, and you'll also get that via email. And you'll want to click next vote, which will take you back to the balloting page. All future votes will pop up there. So if anyone has questions, again, we've got the hotline running, we've got the Zoom chat, and just let us know. We're here to help you. And Chair, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much for that overview. Members, like Aaron had said, the ballot is in your email and also in the Zoom chat, and we will keep it open for 5 minutes. And again, please message election support in the chat if you have trouble accessing the ballot, and we will be back shortly.
Members, we have just about 2 minutes remaining in the balloting period, 2 minutes to get your quorum ballots in. Thank you so much.
All right, members, the ballot is now closed, and we will report back a quorum tally in just a few moments. All right, members, I'm excited to report that we have quorum. We have 66 votes for quorum, and we can continue the rest of our business. Again, staff, thank you so much for your support. So our next order of business is to approve the proposed rules from Chair Martin for advisory election that will govern today's election. Now, if you had checked out the 7-day meeting notice, you will see that you have received the proposed rules in that notice, and DNC staff will also put the rules in the chat. And as they do that, I will go over some of the key components of the process now. So the window for nominations closed on June 30th, and nominations will not be accepted from the floor today. Before each vote, you'll have the chance to hear from candidates who are able to join us. Candidates have been afforded the opportunity to share 1-minute remarks ahead of each election. We will elect our at-large DNC member first. Then we will move into the standing committee elections in the following order: Credentials Committee, Resolutions Committee, then Rules and Bylaws Committee. So as a reminder, in order to serve on a standing committee, an individual must be a member of the DNC. If a non-DNC member wins a standing committee election and does not secure an at-large seat, the second highest vote getter will receive the nomination, which I don't think that applies for us today. As a reminder, these elections determine who will be added to Chair Martin's slates. So again, no position is considered final until the full DNC membership meets in August to vote to elect the at-large nominees and ratify the standing committee appointments. Additionally, Chair Martin will not appoint an individual to more than one standing committee. So once a candidate has been nominated to a standing committee slate, they will be removed from future standing committee ballots. So I know a few folks have been nominated in different caucuses and different councils, and so the same thing applies for that as well. So proxy votes will be accepted. All proxies were required to be submitted to the Office of the Secretary on Thursday, July 10th. So no additional proxies or proxy transfers will be accepted at this time. We will also be utilizing a plurality vote system, which means that the highest vote getter in each of these contests will win. If there's only one person nominated for an office, I can declare as chair the nominee elected by acclamation. If there's a tie in any of these ballots, an additional ballot will be conducted between the two candidates who received the highest number of votes. All right, so we will now vote to approve the proposed rules from Chair Martin for advisory election. Now, this vote will be conducted exactly like we did the quorum vote. So please return to the voting page on your web browser or your mobile device, and the second vote should appear automatically. If for whatever reason you've been logged out of your voting account, don't worry about it. You can log right back in by clicking the link in your email or clicking the link that staff has put in the chat. So before we move to a vote, does anyone have any questions or any concerns? Right, looks like we're a bunch of pros now after these votes. Excellent. Hearing no questions, the proposed rules from Chair Martin for advisory election vote is now open, and you will have 5 minutes to cast your vote. As a reminder, please message the election support in the Zoom chat if you have any trouble finding the email with your ballot. Thanks so much, and we will be back shortly.
Members, there are 2 minutes remaining, 2 minutes to cast your ballot. Thank you.
All right, folks, the ballot for the proposed rules has now closed, and we will have those results momentarily. All right, folks, the rules of procedure have passed with 69 votes in favor and 1 vote opposed. Now, we will move to the election for DNC member at large. So the following candidates have been nominated for the male DNC member at large position. Bill Demora. Bill is a male candidate from Ohio. Dunishi Guerreca. Dunishi is a male candidate from Nebraska. Scott Urbanowski. Scott is a male candidate from from Michigan. Gil Villegas. Gil is a male candidate from Illinois. So each of these candidates have been afforded the opportunity to share 1-minute remarks. When a candidate's name is called, they will be unmuted and their 1 minute will begin. Once they've concluded their remarks, we will go ahead and mute them again. And we will start this process with Bill Demora from Ohio. Bill,
Thank
your
you, Mr.
microphone
Chairman.
should be unmuted and you are recognized to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you everybody for being here on a Sunday afternoon. My name is Bill Demora. I am a state senator from Ohio representing the Columbus region. I'm a former college Democrat president, a former young Democrat president, the former field director, executive director, secretary, and parliamentarian for the Ohio Democratic Party. I'm running for DNC because I've been coming to meetings and conventions since 1996. I've been in charge of every Ohio convention since Chicago in 96. I've helped several of your states along the way with raising money for convention, with events at convention, with helping with their delegate selection plans. But I've never actually been a member of the DNC myself. I'm hoping that this election will allow me to be on the DNC for the first time. I'm here to do whatever's needed for the party. I've been a party person since I was 5 years old and walked my first precinct for my father, who was a city councilman in my hometown of Euclid, which is a suburb of Cleveland. I'm dedicated to the party, and I want to see nothing more than us win elections. I'm tired of losing elections, and I'm here to do whatever I can to win elections, both in my state and nationally in 2026 and 2028. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Bill. Next, we will hear from Dunishi Guerreca. Dunishi, your microphone has been unmuted and you are now recognized to speak.
Perfect. Hey, everyone. I'm Senator Dunishi Guerreca, and I'm running to be your Midwestern Caucus at-large member. I'm the son of two Mexican immigrants and represent Nebraska's only majority Latino district, where I learned that every voice counts, especially in places where Democrats are counted out. I served as president of the Nebraska Young Democrats and was a national officer for the Young Democrats of America. I'm also a card-carrying member of LaUna Local 1140 and a former organizer for healthcare workers with SEIU. As state senator, I fought so working families got a fair shake. I defended our public schools against privatization, and I had one principle. If you work hard, you deserve a shot at your American dream. As a party, we need to focus on winning back working people's votes, especially young men of color. I won my state's only majority Latino district and one of the youngest by 16 points, so I know how to get this done. I try to reach out to everyone and have had amazing conversations with many of you. All while here in my community, we've been dealing with the aftermath of the single largest ICE workplace raid of this Trump term, where moms and aunts that have been here for over 20 years got rounded up like criminals. So I ask for your vote and your support so we can build a stronger, more inclusive Democratic Party in the heartland. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Nixie. Now we will hear from Scott Urbanowski. Scott, your microphone has been unmuted. Go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to Ben Hackett for nominating me. And thank you all for being involved in one of the greatest forces for good in the world, the Democratic Party. We must, as Democrats, prove to ordinary Americans that we are on their side while the Republican administration attacks them. I'm Scott Urbanowski, accomplished communicator, survivor of poverty and bullying, union member, active Democrat from the precinct level to the DNC Youth Council before I aged out, and advocate for inclusion. As a state party communications staffer in 2022, I helped elect Michigan's first state-level Democratic trifecta in nearly 40 years. With my role on the Youth Council, I urged DNC chair candidates to support the rights of all workers, including DNC staff. I'm Scott Urbanowski, gay millennial union member candidate, and I ask for your vote. Let's rebuild trust and let's go win.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Next, we will hear from Gil Villegas. Gil, your microphone has been unmuted and you are now recognized to speak.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, Democrats. I'm Gil Villegas, a proud combat Marine veteran, Teamster, Chicago City Council member, and lifelong Democrat. Our party's at a crossroads. We're losing voters, whether it's union workers, veterans, or independents. They're walking away, not because they've changed, but because they don't feel heard. Our message must reflect the real lives of everyday Americans. Let's stop any infighting, respect our differences, and unify around core democratic values. We need to meet people where they are, especially young voters, through the technology and social media, and we must stay focused on the issues that matter most: affordable housing, accessible healthcare, and strong public education. Yes, we must push back against Trump's dangerous agenda, but we must also learn from the 2024 election. Voters responded to candidates who address affordability and everyday concerns. The first 8 letters in progressive are progress. It's time to move forward together. That's why I'm asking for your support today for the Midwest at Large DNC member position. I'm ready to get to work. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you so much, Gil. And thank you for all of our male candidates. That now concludes the nominating speeches for our male candidates for DNC at-large member. So now we will now we move to nominating speeches for the female DNC member at-large position. The following candidates have been nominated for the female DNC member at-large position: Alicia Andrews. Alicia is a female candidate from Oklahoma. And Kylie Overson. Kylie is a female candidate from North Dakota. Same as the men, our candidates have been afforded the opportunity to share 1-minute remarks. And so once the candidate's name is called, you will be unmuted and your 1 minute will begin. Once you have concluded your remarks, you will be muted again. And we are starting in alphabetical order with Alicia Andrews from Oklahoma.
Thank you, Chairman Harris. Good afternoon, Democrats. I'm Alicia Andrews, and I'm asking for your support to serve as a female at-large member from the Midwest. I am driven by voter participation, and in order to do that, we must regain the trust of everyday Americans. To that end, I've been engaged at every level of this work, from grassroots organizing in my county party to serving 3 terms as chair of the Oklahoma Democratic Party. Along the way, I've co-chaired the ASDC Training Committee, served on the Rural Council Steering Committee, and contributed to the Committee on the Future in both 2020 and 2024. One of my proudest moments was during the pandemic when I coordinated a multi-state fundraising program to help keep parties strong during uncertain times. I am running not just to represent, but to add to the active collaborative voices in the Midwest. I hope to bring both experience and energy to this role. I would be honored to earn your support. Thank you, Democrats.
Thank you, Alicia. Next, we will hear from Kylie Overson from North Dakota. Kylie, your microphone has been unmuted, and go right ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to all of my fellow Democrats from the Midwest for being here today, and to Alicia. I told her it's not fun to run against a friend, but there are good options here, and I'm glad for both of us stepping up to this plate. My name is Kylie. I am proud to have previously served as chair of the North Dakota Democratic NPL for nearly 6 years here in North Dakota. I'm also a former state legislator and currently serve as chair of our DNC Rural Council. I'm an attorney here and work in that space full time, but most importantly, I am raising a strong, beautiful toddler with my husband, and so my days are full of that. But that's why I do this work, and that's why I believe in the work that we do. And I firmly believe that the Midwest Caucus will play and must play an integral role in shaping the future of the Democratic Party. Our values and our work ethic, what we believe here in the Midwest, will help us move the DNC in the right direction and return us to winning elections both at the local level and all the way back up to the White House. In this caucus and in my work in the Rural Council, I believe in empowering new and diverse voices while also integrating and relying on the wisdom and support of our more seasoned leaders. I believe that we can grow our tent while holding true to our values as Democrats, being champions. Did I hit the time?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Well, I appreciate your support, and I'm glad to be here with all of you today. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Kylie. Now that concludes our nominating speeches for female candidates for DNC member at large. So, caucus members, the at-large member vote is now open. So please return to the voting page on your web browser or mobile device. The vote should appear automatically. Again, if you've been logged out of your voting account, don't worry, you can log back in by clicking the link in your email or click the link that was just posted in the chat. So you have 5 minutes to make your very hard decision with all of our candidates. Remember to vote for both male at-large and female at-large. 5 minutes, the ballot will be open for 5 minutes, and we will be back shortly.
Members, we have just over a minute left. Just over a minute left to cast your ballots. Thank you.
All right, members, the ballot for the at-large positions is now closed, and we will have a total for you momentarily. Folks, thank you all so much for your patience. We are almost finished tabulating these votes. All right, folks, thank you all for your patience. We have a male result and we are still tabulating the female result. A total of 72 votes were cast in the male at large ballot. Bill Demore from Ohio with 29.5 votes. Gil Villegas from Illinois with 25.5 votes. Denixie Greca from Nebraska with 17 votes. And Scott Urbanowski came in fourth. So Bill Demore from Ohio received the most votes. Congratulations, Bill. And welcome to Chair Martin Slate. So we will have the results for the female at large here in, I think, a few seconds. Again, thank you for your patience. There were a total of 71 votes cast for the female at-large position. Alicia Andrews from Oklahoma with 48 votes, and Kylie Overson from North Dakota with 23 votes. Alicia Andrews from Oklahoma has received the most votes. Congratulations, and welcome to Chairman Martin Slate. All right. Again, thank you all. Now we will move on to the election for Credentials Committee member. Devin Remiker from Wisconsin has been nominated for the male Credentials Committee position. Again, Devin is a male D&T member from Wisconsin. And Devin, you have 1 minute to address the committee, and your microphone has been unmuted, and you are recognized to speak.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Devin Remiker, the newly elected chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, starting on July 1st. I am a 33-year-old individual who has been in politics my entire working life. I've spent the last 7 years at the state party here in Wisconsin, first under Chair Lanning, then under Chair Wickler, helping to make our state a little bit better year after year. I'm excited for the opportunity to be able to potentially serve on the Credentials Committee and look forward to working with you all closely in the future to help improve our party and our country and move us all forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. And as a reminder, the deadlines for this position was June 30th. And at that time, we had received one nomination. So pursuant to our rules, Rule 2A, Devin Remiker is elected by acclamation. So congratulations, Devin. You are the male Midwestern Regional Caucus's representative. on Chair Martin's Credential Committee slate. Next, for the female position, Angela Rogensus from Michigan has been nominated for the Female Credentials Committee position. And Angela has elected not to speak to the committee, but sends her regards and said, thank you for the support. And in that role, the deadline for nominations was also on June 30th, and she was the only nomination. So pursuant to Rule 2A, Angela Rogensus from Michigan is elected by acclamation. So congrats, Angela. You are the female Midwestern Regional Caucus's representative on Chair Martin's Credentials Committee slate. So now we will shift to the election for Resolutions Committee member. Dave Woodward has been nominated for the Male Resolutions Committee position. Dale is a male DNC member from Michigan. And Dave, you have 1 minute to address the committee, and your microphone is unmuted. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Chair Harris. It's good to be here. I'm actually currently in Philly with our DNC Chair, Ken Martin, at the National Democratic County Luncheon, so I'm stepping out for that. Good to be with my Democratic family. I care about one thing, is winning elections. So we put good people in office to implement the policies of why I became a Democrat, and that's to make working families succeed. And with your support, I plan to carry that motivation, that principle to the Resolutions Committee.
Right. Thank you so much, Dave. And we received one nomination as well for this position, and Dave Woodward is elected by acclamation. So congratulations. You are now the male representative for the Midwest Caucus on Chair Martin's Resolution Committee slate. Or now we'll shift to the female position on the Resolutions Committee. Latanya Reeves from Minnesota has been nominated for the Female Resolutions Committee position. Latanya, you have 1 minute to address the committee, and your microphone has been unmuted, and you are now recognized to speak.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Latanya Reeves. I represent Minnesota on the DNC. I thank you all for this opportunity to speak. I look forward to continuing the values of the Democratic Party across this country. I look forward to working with everyone as we build a stronger party. And as far as resolutions, we're going to be sitting on committees, and we're going to be doing the work and actively engaging in committees. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Latanya. And at the time of the deadline for nominations, we had received one nomination. So Latanya is elected by acclamation. Congratulations. You are now the female Midwest Caucus representative on Chair Martin's Resolutions Committee slate. So now we will move on to the election for Rules and Bylaws Committee member. Jamie Selsler from the great state of North Dakota has been nominated for Male Rules and Bylaws Committee position. Unfortunately, Jamie is on his way to a funeral, but still wanted to address the body. And so, Jamie, you have 1 minute to address the committee, and your microphone has been unmuted, and you are now recognized to speak.
Thank you, Chairman Harris. Sorry, I'm coming to you from the vehicle today. Just want to say thanks for all the support, and I just want to let everyone know I'll be completely open-minded when it comes to the RBC and our rules. We have a very diverse region, from extremely urban areas to very urban or very rural areas, which is, I'm out in a farm field right now. Anyway, I'm always open door, any questions you have, and happy to explain any of the decisions or reasoning behind anything the RBC does, should I end up getting to serve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jamie. Travel safe. At the deadline for nominations, Jamie was the one nomination, and so Jamie is now elected by acclamation. Congratulations, sir. You are the male Midwestern Regional Caucus's representative on Chair Martin's Rules and Bylaws Committee slate. We will now move to the election for Female Rules and Bylaws Committee position. The following candidates have been nominated for the Female Rules and Bylaws Committee position. Debbie Dingle. Debbie is a female DNC member from Michigan. And Gina Repass. Gina is a female DNC member from Kansas. Like the other races, candidates have been afforded the opportunity to share 1 minute remarks. When your name is called, you will be unmuted and your 1 minute will begin. Once you have concluded your remarks, we will go ahead and mute you again, and we will begin with Congresswoman Debbie Dingle.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank everybody for taking my calls that I've been able to talk to, emails and texts, and I've had a lot of good conversations. I believe, especially as we look at what happened with the worst bill that I've seen in my lifetime passed by the Congress and signed on the 4th of July, this is going to be the most presidential election in my lifetime in 2028, and we cannot lose. That means we need to have a presidential nominating process that ensures that the issues that are the ones that determine November are also part of the early primaries. As I've said to all of you, I don't believe any state should have a lock on going first. I have not. I just know that we need to make sure that the process that we select has all of the stakeholders at the table being talked to, having input. So we select a winner. There's no road to the White House that doesn't go through the Midwest. And unfortunately, several of our states are purple. And I want to work with everybody. And I thank you for this opportunity to run.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Next, we will hear from Chairwoman Gina Repass from Kansas. Gina, your microphone has been unmuted. Please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, everybody. Hello, fellow Democrats. Hello from Kansas. Before I say anything else, let me thank any veterans or active duty members of our military who are either on this call or watching on the live stream. I agree. I would also like to thank Representative Dingle for her years of service on the RBC. I understand how very important this committee is, but I also understand how very important it is what Chair Martin has done to diversify the voices in leadership. In the Midwest, there are 13 states, 9 of which are red states. I am the chair of a red state. We have Democrats who fight every day against strong headwinds. We fight back from the superminority, and we know what representation really means and looks like. That's why I'm running to be your representative at the RBC. I'm leaving here to go to a Flip It Blue event because in red states, even though we're in the superminority, we understand what it takes to win. We have to win small in order to win big, and we need that representation and leadership. And not for nothing, let's just remember that the Superman movie that's driving the right crazy, Superman is from Kansas. We are all fighters here, and I'm Gina Repass. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you all.
Thank you, Gina. And that now concludes the nominating speeches for female candidates for DNC Rules and Bylaws Committee. So, members, the Rules and Bylaws Committee member vote is now open. Again, Jamie Selsler was elected by acclamation, so you will only find the female candidates on your ballot. Again, please return to the voting page on your web browser. The vote will appear automatically. If you've been logged out for whatever reason, you can log right back in by clicking either the link in your email or the link in the chat. You now have 5 minutes to cast your vote. Thanks so much, and we will be back shortly.
Members, we have 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes remaining. Thank you.
All right, Midwest members, the ballot has now closed, and we will have a vote tabulation coming soon. All right, members, there were 75 ballots cast for the Rules and Bylaws Committee position. Debbie Dingle from Michigan with 58 votes, Gina Repass from Kansas with 17 votes. Congresswoman Dingle received the most votes. Congratulations, and you are now on the Chairman Martin's committee slate for Rules and Bylaws from the Midwestern region. Members, that concludes our business for today. First, I want to say congratulations to everybody who was elected to Chairman Martin's at-large and standing committee slates. Your service is both appreciated and it is also essential for the work ahead of us. And to the rest of our members in our caucus, just want to say thank you all for your meaningful participation in this process on a Sunday afternoon, for most of us, beautiful weather. So I want to get you out of here so you can enjoy the sunshine. Just as a reminder, our meeting today is one step forward in our continued efforts to build a more inclusive and more representative Democratic Party. So I appreciate all of your patience in this process of opening up these committee roles and all the questions that everyone had. And point of personal privilege, I actually enjoyed being able to communicate with everybody in between these meetings, right? All the calls and texts and things like that gave us an opportunity to spend some time with each other even before our meeting in August. So all that being said, I look forward to seeing all of you in Minneapolis for the August meeting. We're gonna have a real good time, y'all. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have you all in my town. Without